Tell me if this is you. Most choirs operate the same way every year. You hope ticket sales cover costs, you chase grants, you hold fundraisers, and if a bad season hits, a concert that underperforms, a tour that falls through, suddenly you're in crisis mode. But there's another way, a way that actually gets easier over time instead of harder. Years ago, a fellow singer in one of my own groups passed away and donated a sizable amount of money to our choir. And their generosity didn't just help that year, it kept helping year after year. His gift became permanent support for something he loved. That's the endowment promise, and I'm about to show you exactly how it works. Welcome to the Choir Genius channel. I'm Tom Metzger. In this series, we've been breaking down how choirs and choruses actually make money, from member dues to ticket sales to grants. And today, we're talking about endowments, the funding model that sounds like a fantasy until you realize it's actually achievable. If you want the full deep dive, as usual, including templates, resources, and detailed numbers, we've got a comprehensive article on choirgenius.com, link in the description. So let's get going. An endowment is a permanently invested pool of money whose earnings, not the principal, fund your operations. Think of it like a fruit tree. You don't harvest the tree itself, you harvest the fruit it produces year after year. The tree stays in the ground. The fruit feeds your chorus. Here's how it works. Someone or a bunch of people donate money to your choir. That amount becomes your principal. It gets invested in a diversified account of some kind, stocks, bonds. Over the course of a year, that investment generates returns, maybe 5%. That's your fruit. That's what you actually spend. The original amount stays invested and keeps growing. Let me make this concrete. A $50,000 endowment generating 5% annually gives you $2,500 a year. That might not sound like a lot until you think about what it actually buys. A weekend retreat, a guest conductor, subsidized travel for a tour, a summer workshop, or just breathing room in a lean year when ticket sales didn't meet projections. A $100,000 endowment? That's $5,000 a year. And here's the beautiful part. That principal doesn't go anywhere. It keeps working, and because of compound interest, your endowment's purchasing power actually grows over time. You're not fighting inflation, you're outpacing it. And I can hear some of you thinking, our biggest gift ever was $5,000. An endowment sounds impossible. But here's the thing you need to know. You don't need $100,000. A $20,000 endowment is genuinely meaningful for a small choir. That generates $800 to $1,500 annually. That's real money that makes a real difference. The key is starting, not starting big. And you'd be surprised how many ways there are to do it. So yeah, where does the money actually come from? Let me walk you through the realistic paths. Legacy gifts are the most reliable source. When a long-time choir member or supporter passes away, they often remember the organization in their will. Memorial donations tied to an endowment honor that person's legacy in a permanent way. Every year, the organization continues the work they loved. That's powerful. Matching gifts are also powerful. A board member or major supporter offers to match donations. I'll add $5,000 if you can raise $5,000 from others. This accelerates the timeline. It gives other donors confidence, and it signals that your board is invested. You can also run fundraising events specifically for the endowment. A gala, a special concert, a wine tasting, marketed as Building Our Future Together, and all proceeds go to the endowment. And finally, memorial giving. When someone passes away, instead of flowers, invite supporters to contribute to the endowment in their memory. You'd be surprised how much this generates. It feels good to honor someone's life by supporting what they cared about. And that memory compounds, literally, for decades. Now, if this is landing for you, you're probably thinking about how to build something more sustainable for your choir. That's exactly what we focus on at Choir Genius. So if this is useful, like the video, share it with someone on your board or leadership team, and subscribe to this channel. We're breaking down every major revenue stream choirs actually use, and you don't want to miss an episode. Before we go any further, let's talk. Drop a comment down below. Does your group have an endowment yet? Tell us what that money is doing for your group. All right, back to the video. Okay, so you have the money. Now what? Do you need separate bank accounts, a complicated legal structure, a lawyer on speed dial? Actually, no. Here's what you actually need. First, the money lives in your nonprofit's main bank account, but it's clearly designated as the endowment. That's it. Second, your board writes down a simple spending policy, just one page, something like, each year we will distribute 5% of the endowment's balance to operations. The principal will never be accessed except in genuine emergency circumstances. Write it down, everybody agrees, and you're done. Third, your board checks on it quarterly. Look at the balance, make sure the investment strategy makes sense, have a conversation, 15 minutes. And fourth, if your endowment grows beyond $50,000 to $100,000, you could even hire a fee-only financial advisor to manage it, maybe $500 to $1,500 a year. Worth it to protect your assets. That's the entire structure. No separate corporation, no complex governance, just clarity and oversight. Let me show you how this actually plays out in the real world. Picture this. A choir receives a $50,000 memorial gift. The board decides to make it permanent, to turn it into an endowment rather than spending it all at once. The $50,000 goes into an investment account. Within the first year, it generates $2,500 in returns. Year 1, that $2,500 funds a summer workshop the choir couldn't otherwise afford. New singers develop skills, morale improves. Year 2, another $2,500 allows the chorus to subsidize travel to a competition. Singers who couldn't afford it can participate. Year 3, the endowment is now $52,000. Annual distribution is $2,600. This year, it steadies operations during a lean season when ticket sales didn't meet projections. And from year 4 onward, the endowment is predictable, stable, and growing. The board knows they can count on $2,500 to $3,000 annually. One person's generosity became the chorus's lifeline, year after year after year. And here's what nobody talks about when they discuss endowments. They give you freedom. When you have reliable revenue, you stop making decisions based purely on money. You can pay your director fairly, you can commission original arrangements, you can invest in quality resources, you can take artistic risks. You can stop treating your chorus like a gig economy and start treating it like a real institution. An endowment isn't a fantasy. It's not something only major orchestras can achieve. It's a choice, a decision that your choir deserves permanent funding. All it takes is one generous person or a group of them to get started. Start the conversation with your board this week. The fruit from that tree could be growing for decades. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. Where does an endowment land as a revenue stream? Let's break it down. For stability, 5 out of 5. Once established, this is rock solid. For scalability, 3 out of 5. Growth is limited by your donor base and time, not by logistics. Low cost, 2 out of 5. We're calling it that because the money has to come from somewhere. Upfront investment is real. And control, 4 out of 5. You control the strategy and the spending policy, but market returns are partially out of your hands. So the average score, 3.5 out of 5. An endowment is the most stable, sustainable funding model available to choirs, but only if it's treated as a genuine long-term commitment, not a fantasy or a quick fix. The real power of an endowment isn't the money, it's what the money means, that your choir is permanent, that you deserve to exist, that donors' generosity compounds forever. If you found this helpful, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.